Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Know-How is brought to you by Cashfly at CACHEFLY.com.
This episode of Know-How is brought to you by the Ring Video Doorbell. With a built-in HD camera and microphone, you can monitor your front door from anywhere in the world using your smartphone. It's like being home even when you're not. Right now, get $10 off the Ring Video Doorbell when you go to ring.com/knowhow. And by Braintree. Even the best mobile app won't work without the right payments API. That's where the Braintree V.0 SDK comes in. One amazingly simple integration gives you every way to pay. Try out the sandbox and see for yourself at braintreepayments.com/knowhow. Today on Know-How,
do you stink? Then stop showering.
An epic series of feedback.
And make your gifts butter smooth.
Know-How. It's the Twitch show where we build, bend, break, and upgrade. I'm Father Robert Ballacer.
And I'm Bryan Burnett.
And for the next 4 hours, we're going to be showing you some of the projects that we've been playing with so that you can take them home and geek out on your own.
So, what were you saying earlier, Padre?
I've been saying, you know, I didn't want to bring it out, but you could use a little ripening. And just saying.
I should be more ripe.
You should be more ripe. Yeah.
So
this is the first story. This actually came from a conversation that we had at the end of the last episode. If you were watching live, you saw it. If not, I'm sorry. That's the works. But if you were watching live, you heard a conversation we had about good bacteria.
Yes.
Specifically, how good bacteria in your body and especially in your gut is vital. It's not optional. It's vital for good health.
And we were talking about the pills that you can take. Poop pills to help you with your gut bacteria.
Right, repopulate the bacteria that might have been destroyed by illness, or a big one for us is antibiotics. When people take broad spectrum antibiotics for no reason whatsoever, like people who take it when they have a cold, even though knowing full well it has nothing, it can do nothing against a virus.
Right.
That antibacterial medication does do something, and that is kill.
It's not only killing the bad stuff; it's like dropping a bomb on everything.
Right, you're dropping a bee and making a mess out of it. But it's not just internally. There are some people who swear that if you culture a healthy colony of bacteria on your body, you don't have to shower
ever,
and that it's actually healthier for you.
I'm a little skeptical. Who are we going to test this out on?
Well, okay. Believe it or not, they were actually at DEF CON. That main area.
I think I smelled a few of them, yeah.
Well, no, they say it's an earthy smell. Not like a bad smell. It'd be like you go into a forest and you smell like the smell of dirt.
Is that pine needles I smell?
I don't want to make fun of the people who have chosen this because there is actually some sound scientific reasoning behind it.
It makes sense.
It does make sense. There was a journalist from the New York Times by the name of Julia Scott who worked with a company called Biome, and they were the ones at DEF CON.
Okay.
And what they've done is they've come up with this spray. It's a mist that encourages the growth of what they call a healthy microbiome. It's ammonia oxidizing bacteria on the skin. Now, just like it sounds, it's bacteria that eats ammonia. Now, ammonia is the constituent part of sweat that smells bad.
Okay.
That's the part that we go,
ooh.
It becomes pungent, right? So if you could encourage bacteria that eats that and just turns it basically into oxygen, that's a good thing, yes?
Is that something that would happen normally, though, or naturally?
It would, but you need a lot of bacteria. You need a lot of colonies for that to happen. And unfortunately, what they found out was we're kind of obsessed. I mean, showering is really only a recent human development.
Yeah.
Like daily showering. It really didn't happen that often until maybe 100 years ago or so. And what we've done is because of all the soaps that we've developed, we basically nuke the surface of our skin every time we take a shower. And a lot of us like those hot showers, those long hot showers, which we can't do here in California anymore.
Nope.
But I did it in New York.
Actually, this is perfect for everyone in California.
Exactly.
No more showering.
There's no more water. So no, but when I was in New York, and they have no shortage of water, I was in a hotel, I was just sitting there going, oh, I forgot what it feels like to have the water on. Oh, this is so nice.
You bring some plastic bags and take it back with you. Yeah.
Do you have anything to declare, sir? Yes, I have about 40 gallons of water here.
Yes, please.
Thank you. But here's the rub. If you're trying to encourage the growth of your biome, you can't be using creams. You can't be using antiperspirants. In fact, you kind of have to keep your skin chemical free. And that means nothing that we're used to putting on that makes you smell better. So there's this weird spot where you need to develop the biome for at least 30 days. So for those 30 days, you will smell worse and worse and worse until you start to smell better.
That's how they get you, is that they tell you you're going to smell better at some point, but you can't make it the 30 days without showering.
Right. Now, the whole idea came up in 2001. The founder of AOBiome, it was a man by the name of David Whitlock. He wondered why horses like rolling in the dirt.
Right.
And, well, dirt is slang for just anything that they could find.
Not just horses, my dog does
Your
too.
dog does too. And evidently, there's some sort of innate knowledge that by encouraging the growth of bacterial colonies, you will get to a point where it keeps your skin clean. And it's not just smell. People who suffer from eczema or psoriasis, which we kind of know is linked to people who take showers a lot.
Right.
Because you're wiping off all the oils, all the healthy bacteria, and you're allowing opportunistic growth. That could possibly be solved by encouraging a healthy biome.
So what would you recommend? Are you going to try this out?
No.
No.
No. I mean, I like the idea. And actually, the New York Times reporter who did it, she even said, yeah, the effects are obvious. At the end of her 30 days, her acne cleared up. Like, it had never cleared up before in her life. Her pores shrunk, so they weren't so big on her face. Her skin was smooth rather than getting scratchy, and she didn't have to put a lot of cream on it. But to do that, I mean, you do go through a long period of
process
uncomfortability.
Let's say like a fermenting process.
Yeah. And I mean, and then you always have to worry that you're going to do something that will wipe out the biome. Like, for example, if you go swimming in a heavily chlorinated pool, it will kill it all, and you have to start over.
Yeah, didn't she say like 2 or 3 showers and then that would gone? Yeah.
Gone. Yeah, because they were doing like the patch test that we were doing here for bacteria, and she could isolate the colonies that were growing on her body, and they were all healthy bacteria. But even a hot shower, not even with soap, but a hot shower would wipe them out. So I don't know. The science is there. I don't know how many of us are going to be convinced just to spritz on some bacteria food and then go to bed.
Yeah, especially since I know Leo's really investing in smell-o-vision for the network next. I don't know if that'll work out very well, but I don't know. Should we test this out on someone?
Excuse me, Brian. As director of this show, I'm not going to let you.
You're not going to?
Just nixed. No. Nope. Done.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, we might be able to get Burke to do it.
He's already on the right path.
Burke doesn't have regular access to a shower. I mean, he has to use the hose behind the studio, so we could just turn off the water. Hey, Burke, here's a bottle. Spray yourself.
I'm curious. I'd be tempted to try it, but I don't think I'd have the willpower or the coworkers willing to deal with it.
Well, I mean, that's what you need, patience.
I think my dog would be fine for it.
By the way, your rain is delicious.
Thank you.
Now,
it's all natural.
When we come back, it's time for an epic set of feedback.
Yes.
We're not just looking at your questions, but we've got some projects that you've been working on, and we want to show them off on Know-How. But before we do that, let's go ahead and take a moment to thank the first sponsor.
Ooh, yes.
And it's the Ring Video Doorbell. Now, you've heard about the Ring Video Doorbell because you've heard me talk about it. I love this thing. This is not just a product that we have on the network. It's a product that several of us have bought before they became a sponsor to get a peace of mind. Now, here's what it does. If you look inside the Ring Video Doorbell kit, you're going to find everything you need to install it. That includes the doorbell, that includes the tools, the bit, the level, the USB charging cable. Now, flip this thing over, Brian, because what you find is that there's a little charging port, this micro USB port. One charge of the lithium-ion battery will get you 1 year of use.
They even include the cable.
They even include the cable. They thought of everything. But if you've got power that's going to your existing doorbell, install it on top of this plate, and you'll be charged forever. The house power will keep the Ring Video Doorbell powered up and ready to go. Now, what do you get? Well, first of all, you get a regular doorbell. People ring the doorbell, and it's gonna ring inside the house just like it would with any other doorbell. But that's about all the similarities you're going to find, because this thing is truly a marvel of technology. You see, every time you ring it, it's going to ring your phone. It's going to ring your mobile device. This allows us to, well, find out who's coming to our home. It's like caller ID. For example, here's something that happened over at my parents' home in Las Vegas, Nevada. I installed one of these because I was worried about people coming by the house, which statistically, it happens quite a bit, to case the joint. Now, this person set off the motion detection. And
what's he up to?
And again, this is our neighbor. This is our neighbor.
Why does he have an extension cord?
I don't know. But if we come home and we find out that even though that house has been mostly empty for a month, that suddenly our power bill is way through the roof, it's because he's been siphoning power from our house.
You know, it's funny. It's not the first time we've seen this guy.
No, we keep seeing him. We keep seeing him.
Because your parents are, what, on a cruise right now?
So what had happened here was my parents, who are out of the country, they actually answered the door. So we're hearing their conversation right there.
What are you doing in our doorway?
So there might be a good story when I see them when they get back from their trip. But folks, this is what the Ring Video Doorbell does. It doesn't just give you caller ID for your home. It gives you peace of mind. You can see if someone's checking out your entryway. You can find out if someone is coming to the door, ringing it just to see if someone's there. And since it stores to the cloud, I'll have proof that I could download to my device and use if I have to. I'm telling you, the Ring Video Doorbell is the way to go. And right now, because you are members of the Twit Army, you can get $10 off. That's right. Right now, you can get $10 off the normal price. Protect your home and have a peace of mind with Ring. Go to ring.com/knowhow. That's ring.com/knowhow. And we thank the Ring Video Doorbell for their support of know-how. Hey, Brian, you know what I like?
Rain clouds?
What? Yeah, I like rain clouds, but I also like feedback.
Yeah. We from our Google Plus community, 9,000 strong and growing. This first one comes from Steven Vincent. He's been working on a MAME arcade controller build. Probably going to make up a video showing how I did everything and lay out a custom PCB to use as the control interface. Right now it has an Arduino Leonardo with solid wire pushed into the inputs, which is less than permanent situation. I will also probably be applying wood veneer with a vacuum press.
I love this, Steven. Please keep posting pictures of this.
Awesome.
Right? And it's the classic Street Fighter layout of the buttons.
Yes.
We've got something like this downstairs, but we didn't build it. It was given to us. And people who build these machines, I can't because I don't have the space, but it's like a nostalgia bomb. It just drops in your brain, boom.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's as soon as you feel those buttons and the joystick, there's nothing else quite like it.
Yeah. Once you get that stand-up experience, it's hard to go back to sitting back on the couch with the console. It's just there's a little something. You know what? I wonder if there's a generation who never really experienced the arcade. I'm wondering if they don't understand this, they don't care about it.
Probably not. And as for me, not being very good at those fighting games, it was essential to have those buttons laid out like that so that I could just like
well, that everyone knows. You just push them all at the same time, something good will happen.
And you get a combo, max output.
Right out. Hey, by the way, I was really bad at those too. I knew like 3 moves, and I would just keep doing it over and over. And then you'd find like that one experienced. Oh, that's my dad.
Looks like someone's back at the door again.
Call.
You want to play an arcade also?
No, it's okay. Thanks, Dad. I'm good. I appreciate it.
Never have to worry about your parents again.
Yeah, because they're always on my phone. How about that? So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the second one. We just wanted to show that.
That was a cool project.
That was a cool project. Steven, thank you very much for sharing that with us. Please share pictures, especially the vacuum press. I would love to see someone run a working vacuum press, because I tried one and
didn't work out so well.
Mess. There was resin everywhere.
That's why they won't let us have one of those again.
I'm not good at it. Let's go ahead and go on to the next one. This one is actually a question that I think a lot of geeks should have.
So this one comes from Jason Perry, and he says, looking at scrapping a bunch of old Pentium computers, any parts people suggest pulling for future electronics builds? He's going through power supplies to see about turning 1 or 2 into a benchtop supply. So yeah, we've actually done that in the past.
We've got, when you scrap your own old computer, there are some parts that you can readily pull off. I always pull off the memory. I pull off the CPU because those are useful. I mean, maybe not immediately, but I keep them in a box. You never know when you might need an old set of memory or an old CPU.
Right.
The other parts that I always pull off is I always pull off fans.
Fans,
I mean, unless they're really, really jank. They've been in there a long time. Fans run a long time. Brushless DC fans will last pretty much forever. And I always find uses. Like the cooling projects that we made, I didn't have to go buy anything because I just had a box full of coolers. I also like the heat sinks. Those heat sinks can always be repurposed.
I was gonna say, I have a few of those softball-sized copper heat pipe CPU sinks that I used to use for overclocking.
Yeah, why not?
Come in handy again sometime.
Nice chunk of copper.
Yeah.
The other thing to pull off would be, I like switches. Switches and LEDs that might be in the case. You know, it takes 2 seconds to pull them off. I have a big bag of them. Every once in a while, I'll bust them out. And again, it just means it's something else I don't have to buy.
Right.
Now, when it comes down to the motherboard, especially a non-working motherboard, there are people who like to pull off the components. I'm not big on that, just because most of that tech is now surface mount, which is hard to put on and take off. And honestly, I mean, if you're pulling off a resistor or capacitor, that's not an expensive component.
No.
And you can buy a fresh, like, pack of those components for next to nothing.
Right.
So, in fact, if you work the supply channel, you can get samples from these manufacturers. And I have like a huge Tupperware box full of samples that I just got online. They sent it to me, no shipping, no nothing.
Order them in bulk.
Well, and because what they do is they want you to tinker with it, find something that you want to make and produce, and then they get their money when you order a lot of them.
Okay.
And that costs me nothing. So I'm not big on pulling components off of motherboards.
Yeah.
However, there is 1 or 2 components that you really need to scavenge for gold, and the first one has to be the power supply.
Yes.
This baby. We've been playing with this for a while. This is a micro ATX power supply, but you can do the same thing with any power supply that has the ATX name. If you short the 14th and the 15th pin, can you see it on the side view here, Alex? The 14th and the 15th pin, you'll see that I have a little paper clip right there. It's super dangerous, by the way. Don't do that. Please cover it up. But that activates the power supply. So this is designed that as soon as I plug it into power, it's going to start providing power.
Right, and then that's the way you can use it for your test bench?
Exactly, because this is going to provide me with 3 different voltages, 12 volt, 5 volt, and 3.3 volt.
Cool.
And I can actually combine the positive and negative rails of the different power rails to get combinations. Although I don't do that because I just have a regulator.
Right.
12 volt's my favorite, 5 volt's probably my second favorite. It's a super high quality power supply. It will give you really clean power. I mean, compared to anything else. In fact, my test bench at home has one of these. It's a 400 watt power supply that runs everything. All my gear is run off of that one power supply, and it actually makes it super efficient because now I'm doing the AC to DC conversion in one spot, and everything else is in DC. Otherwise, I've got 15 different adapters that are going AC-DC.
Are there power supplies that you would recommend over other ones? Like if you just bought a generic computer from like Costco or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, most of them are going to be generic. Unless you personally bought a power supply for your box, and if you did, you're going to salvage that anyways.
Because that's what I was just thinking. I have an old gaming machine that's sitting in the garage, and I really need to get rid of it, but I'm definitely going to be pulling out the power supply. I
have a 1500 watt Corsair power supply from way back in the day, and that thing has gone from box to box to box because it's an expensive unit. But even these low quality ones, they work. I've had a power supply blow out on me maybe a dozen times in 30 years.
I've only known of one power supply exploding, and it was Alex's. And it was pretty exciting. I think like sparks shot out the back of the computer.
Was it like you were pulling way too much, or it
just
decided to die?
What was the story?
No, it just decided to die one morning when I turned it on.
Yeah, well, good. That's good.
Normally, spark shot out of the back, and I just quickly like reach behind and turn off I think the power strip or something.
Normally, when power supplies die, it's the capacitors, the caps on the board. You start to see them expand, and eventually they pop, and that gives you nice sparky blue smoke.
Okay.
But yeah, the power supply definitely pull. This, of all the parts to pull out of your computer, this would be the one that's an absolute, because unlike the CPU or the memory where you store for later use, this is immediately useful. If you tinker at all, you're going to want a good power supply, and a power supply that can give you a lot of ultra clean 12, 5, and 3.3 volt power, yeah, do it every time.
Okay. And as far as the next part to scavenge, I have a stack of these at
Hard
home.
drive.
Hard drives, yeah.
This is just fun. Okay, so this is my dead Doge. Of course, I'm going to pull off the controller card. A lot of people think that they pull these off and they save them because they all look the same and the electronically
anything,
they're the same. Not really. Even the same model from a manufacturer
Have different firmware.
different
something
firmware,
like
and they're not really compatible. This is not super useful. I keep them just because they don't take up much space, and every once in a while, I'll have a hard drive with a dead controller. And since I'm always buying the same models, sometimes I'll find one that works. Sometimes.
You probably go through way more computer hardware than most people, though, right?
I'm averaging a drive a week.
Yeah,
Because
so
I got a lot of arrays.
I've never had a drive fail on me, but I have probably had 1/100th of the number of drives that you've had.
Right. Well, you got to remember, I'm running 2 petabytes of storage, and so those drives will fail a lot.
Yeah, well,
I have more drives than Twit.
yeah, which
How about
is kind of
that?
scary.
Think about that for
There's
a
a
second.
lot of drives.
So Alex, go on the overhead here. I did some of the prep work. So this is my dead Doge drive, and if you lift it off,
Oh, it's so shiny.
it's so shiny. Yeah, so this is what's inside of your hard drive. Now, obviously, when you do this, it really is dead, okay? I've now exposed this to dust. This is supposed to be a clean environment. It's gone. Now, can you figure out why this died? Let me hold this really close to my microphone and rotate it a little bit. Oh, you can't hear it.
I don't think you can hear it over the mic.
I already did it. So the first time I spun this around, you can hear it go, because the head had melded onto the platter.
It was sad. It was
Yeah.
a noise you never want to hear. That comes from the clicking.
Oh, the click of death, the click of death. But what we've got in here, this is not just fun to look at. There's a lot of components in here that you can use. The first thing that I really like, hard drives have really high quality stepper motors. So the way that you position the arm or even the motor spindle inside of a hard drive is you've got a motor that knows exactly where it is in its rotation. That's useful because essentially it gives you a high torque a servo motor. You have the ability to really position devices precisely in real space. There we go. Okay, got the spindle off. See, I'm already putting it's not. Oh, of course, it's not magnetic because you don't want magnetic screws inside of a hard drive.
No.
Yeah. So these are the spindles. This right here, this is the arm. So if I think I've already removed the screws from the bottom. This is just being held in by the magnetic force of the rare magnets, which is what I want. The rare magnets on. By the way, don't let kids play with these because
they'll smash their fingers with
these
them.
are the neodymium magnets. Brian, these are so much fun.
Those are the ones I used to play with. Until I think I got it stuck to the side of my dad's van.
Done.
Yeah.
They're not coming off.
And then he wouldn't let me play with the hard drive.
Be careful. These are actually dangerous. The magnetic attraction from neodymium magnets is no joke.
Yeah.
You get a stack of these things and you get your finger caught between it and a really big metallic surface.
Yeah.
It will cause damage. It will hurt.
I've tried to pry these from the plate before too. They have a tendency to snap in the middle and then flip over.
Yeah, so you have to be really, really careful about how you get these off. This is not screwed into that plate at all. There is nothing that is attached, no glue. That's just the magnetic force that holds it in place. I mean, that's how strong it is.
Don't start waving that around your other hard drives, I guess?
No. Yeah, that would be a bad idea. But there's 2 neodymium magnets, but then like the arm, I love the arm. Let's see if I can get this out without
mechanism there.
Completely destroying it.
I don't know, Padre.
I don't normally do. I do this in a couple of minutes, but I normally have a nice bench setup that's ready to help me. I think I'm gonna have to destroy it.
Were you going to try and stop?
I just scratched it down. So this is the head mechanism. This is useless. This will give you nothing. You won't be able to do anything with it, but it does look cool. I mean, this is something you can bring out at a party and go, hey, look, this is what in your hard drive.
I don't know what kind of parties you're going to, Padre.
Yeah, I go to sexy parties. But this shows
going to my hard drive party.
It's a 4-platter drive. So you've got 8 heads. So one for the top surface and one for the bottom surface. And that shows you how many platters you've got spinning inside of your unit.
Wasn't this a terabyte and a half?
This was a terabyte and a half, right? So yeah, and actually, the funny part is the very first hard drive I had was a single platter, and you'd only read one side. So
go
go.
Those platters
Yeah,
out?
go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Pull it. Go, Brian, go.
Oh, it's so clean.
It's so shiny.
Yeah, see, this is why I like taking them apart. Just to look at everything. I'll never be able to use it.
And this is
again.
actually new. This is new for me. If you look at this, oh, sorry about that. The platters are actually, they're separated by this like a shim. So you have to remove the shim in order to get these out there.
Huh.
But yeah.
Is that so you don't get the?
So the platters don't smack on each other.
Yeah.
I mean, if they ever got close enough, they'd probably break before they actually smacked each other. But this is what's holding down the other platters. You've got the first one. By the way, once you start getting fingerprints on them, you will never get them off.
Right. If you wanted to get rid of the data or make sure that people didn't get what was on your hard drive.
That's glass, so you could shatter it.
Just really, this is glass?
That's glass. Yeah, it's glass that's been sprayed with ferrous material.
So shiny.
Yeah, because it's sort of like a quadcopter propeller. You want something that's light, because you don't want to put a whole lot of energy into the system to keep it moving. Glass is actually perfect for that. Something that's rigid.
Very cool.
Right. Let's pull out the rest of these things. Shim 1. Done. Want to get that, Brian?
Sure. My pleasure. Ooh. So you could
my memories, Brian.
You could. Yeah, what did you have
my
on
memories.
This? Oh, it's tough to get your.
Well, this was part of a raid, so. Oh, fingerprint. Oh, you're not gonna get a clean one.
I think there's a like a bracket right here or something. Padre.
No, that's just you.
That's just me. There's not like this like weird.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? We have this iFixit kit because this is what we use.
We can get anything.
Man, you just fingerprinted the heck out of that thing.
Were you gonna try and retrieve the data off of that?
Yeah, totally. This was out of a RAID array, so it's all good.
Yeah, this was a Seagate.
This was a Seagate.
I know you're using the plastic spudger, but maybe you should go metal.
Okay, just rip it out of there.
Padre, I think it's beyond, saving.
I don't know, Brian. I think I could. Wait.
Yeah, it's like a little gasket or something.
Oh,
there you go.
Oh, it's coming.
Almost. There you go.
Okay, that platter's probably gone. Okay, pull that off.
Well, were we gonna try and rescue these platters?
No.
I don't think so.
They're done. I do want to see if I can find the physical, like the damage.
I kind of. Oh, of what killed this hard drive?
Yeah.
Can you get that in? Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Very tight tolerances in these things. And this wouldn't be like a helium-filled one, right?
No. Those are like the enterprise drives. There's no helium. Actually, I don't know. Maybe I didn't check to see if I spoke funny after pulling this.
Yeah.
Okay.
You do seem a little bit more high-pitched.
Get out of there. Get out of there.
Yeah, so these are like little.
This has changed since the last time I opened up one of these drives. I have like a set of 30 that have to be disassembled. Or maybe I'll just send them out to members of the Know-How audience. Here's a drive for you to pull apart.
So there are little rings on this one. I don't think it was us. Maybe it was us, or maybe it was from the metal spudger, but they look a little too perfect.
I don't know.
What do you think killed this drive?
My guess, since it was still spinning, I'm thinking it was probably a head impact. Because
do you want to keep going at it?
The electronics were still working. But you get the idea. So when we're done here, what we're going to do is this spindle motor is actually super valuable. And the reason why it's super valuable is
you really have to dig to get it.
Yeah, you got to get all this stuff out there. But this spindle inside here, that is the perfect thing to attach stuff to. It's already got the mount. So it's not like you have to hack together a way to get the motor useful. This has it built in.
Okay.
Yeah. But once we're done, what you're left with is an aluminum cadaver. Which, by the way, you can recycle. You can bring it to your recycling center, and they will recycle that. The second magnet is right here. I think I have to remove one more bolt underneath in order to make it work. Ooh. See, look, want to know how...
I like these.
Do you want to know how powerful these neodymium magnets are? So here's one of my metal spudgers.
Whoa.
It will actually hold the entire... It will hold the weight of the drive up.
Jeez.
That's just from the magnet. Oh, great. Now I'll never remove them. Yeah, so there's always two. There's two of these because it's what holds the arm that glides over the hard drive. That's they generate a magnetic field that the arm
uses to write the ones and zeros.
If you look at this right here, this coil let me turn this sideways. This coil, this allows it to generate a magnetic field that will precisely position the arm.
That's pretty cool.
Right, because you need it precise because it has to move from track to track to track to track. That's how it stores data on those platters. Now, folks, this is not the most efficient way to get yourself neodymium magnets and stepping motors, but
if you have a broken hard drive,
why not? Yeah. But again, I want to repeat this because this is no joke. The neodymium magnets, they are not toys. Don't let kids get near them.
They will ruin other hard drives.
Well, they will ruin our other hard drives, and they will if they swallow these things. Seriously, that's hugely bad. That's surgery. In fact,
Why would you do that?
Don't put it in your mouth. Don't get it in your mouth. They are fun, but keep them separate from everything else because neodymium magnets are incredibly, incredibly powerful.
So you're not going to be using these to stick artwork to the fridge?
No.
Yeah.
But there are applications when you need really strong rare earth magnets, and that's a great source for them because these can be kind of expensive. In fact, here, let's see if I can. Ooh.
Yeah,
that's not coming
apart.
Oh, okay. That's like 20 pounds of force to get that off of there. Ooh.
And yeah, when they snap together like that, that's when you get your fingers caught between.
Yes. And then they fall off. And then people yell at you for being so stupid.
I know.
All right. So, folks, in short, yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can salvage from your salvage from your computer.
You can salvage your PC.
That you can do the practical stuff. Of course, the most practical is the power supply. But if you want to have fun, there are very few things in your computer that I find more fun to disassemble than a hard drive. It's so sad. Right, it's dead.
No, it's all right. It lived a good life. I'm guessing you back up, right?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, people wanted to know if this is actually glass. Here, listen to the chime.
Yeah, it sounds like glass.
That's totally glass. That's glass. So if you hit it hard enough, it will. Oh, by the way, if you are going to play with these, put on safety goggles because when these shatter, they really shatter. It's tempered glass. It will just.
Hey, Alex, catch.
Stop!
Oh, sorry.
Bad man. Oh, and by the shims are really good for horseshoes.
Right. Hard drive party.
All right, let's go and move on to the next one. We've got a little Ghetto PC.
Yes, this comes from Ben Yankee and his project Ghetto Thin Client.
I love this. This is one of those like what was that the ECS the Livo or the Livo X2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stick on the back.
The idea is instead of putting like a Fire Stick or a Google Chromecast, why not stick a $40 computer on the back of your computer? And if for extra ghetto points, if you go back to that picture,
hot glue
Alex,
to the back?
You'll see hot glue.
Yeah.
Hot glue is the ghetto engineer's material of choice. The more hot glue, the better.
That's right.
So,
that is good.
I just wanted to show that. Thanks, Ben. Thanks. That was a good one. All right, we've also got a question about possibly building an ultimate gaming PC.
Yeah, this comes from Tracy Ryder. I would like to suggest a topic for your new show format. How about a first build of a gaming computer for those of us that have a desire to start building their own?
This is, I'd love to do this. It's not as easy as it used to be. The choices were relatively limited when I first started building what would be considered a gaming PC.
The hardest decision was, are you going to be an Intel guy?
Right,
or are you going to be an AMD guy?
And now it's, okay, you're Intel.
Yeah.
You're probably Intel, but you've got choices for the GPU.
Right.
And maybe that will influence what you do with the CPU. But you could choose different formats, and it gets ridiculously expensive because of SLI. I mean, let's be honest. The ability to buy multiple $1,000 video cards and put them into one system, that gets pricey.
You mean like the one you have sitting underneath your desk right now?
Don't say anything. That was supposed to go back so long ago. It's been sitting there.
Well, you gotta like get a forklift to ship that thing back.
Yeah. Yes. So I think this is actually a good idea, but we know how would never be able to afford. This would be like
we would do your budget.
This would bust our budget for the year.
Yeah.
So what we've actually tried to do is we're reaching out and we're getting help from our friends over at Twitch.
Those are the guys to talk to.
Yeah. To build a budget and then a more performance-oriented gaming machine. Here's the thing though. When I was building, it was because no one else would make a setup like that. I could build a much better computer than anyone else could make.
Right.
And it would be more powerful, more stable than what I could buy from a major manufacturer. That's not really the case anymore.
No, it's a lot more competitive now.
It's way more competitive. In fact, for a lot of these machines, like the ones from Alienware, the ones from Doghouse, the ones from Acer, I can't build a machine of equivalent speed for less than what they'll sell it to me for.
Right.
And I get a warranty from them, and it's assembled. Right. So it's great as a learning experience. I love it. I really encourage it.
Yeah, it was one of the most fun, best learning experience I ever did was building my own gaming PC.
No.
And $800, and I just wanted to play Counter-Strike.
Right.
But back in the day, like that was not that. I mean, that was not a lot for a gaming PC. But if I were to try and buy like a Dell XPS or something like that back then, it wouldn't have been what I wanted to do.
Exactly. But the issue now is, if I'm going to spend $6 grand on a crazy performance desktop, something with 4 graphics cards and the highest quality motherboard I could find, something like the what's that? The X2 from gosh, I can't remember. Super Micro, I think it was.
Things have gotten so pretty too.
So
like
pretty.
The new motherboards.
Right. And the new PCI or M2 SSD drives.
I would definitely be building my next PC with that in mind.
With one of those. Yeah. But if I'm going to spend $6 grand, do I want to spend $6 grand on the parts and then I'm responsible for them because most of those warranties wear out for 30 days? Or do I want to spend $6,500 and get something that's completely warranted?
Yeah.
It becomes one of these things where I don't know if I want to be on the hook financially for that. I can't. If something goes wrong with one part, the CPU goes bad, a video card goes bad, already it's no longer a
And then you have
to
figure out what it was that went wrong.
Right.
Like, Alex, when your power supply blew up, did you have to contact the direct maker of that manufacturer of it?
Yep. I called them, told them what happened, and
they
sent me another one.
And they laughed at him.
They laughed.
I think it was still under warranty.
Yeah. And actually, right now, Ryan Shrout, they've built a 20-core.
That's insane. Rendering PC?
It's not for gaming.
Yeah,
it's for
rendering.
video editing. Yeah. But that box is ridiculous. They're really more of the source for stuff like that than we are. But we'll try to do a crossover just for you.
Yes, just for our audience.
Just for the audience.
Totally not for us to play with a gaming PC.
No, we don't care about that. Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
You know what's better than paying for something?
Free.
Free.
And that's why Will O'Meara asked us this. With this week's episode talking about free CAD software from Autodesk, I felt that it was a good time to mention that all Autodesk software is free for students. It's not the easiest thing to find, but you just need to sign up for their education community, which is free, with a .edu email address, and you will be able to download free student versions of AutoCAD, Inventor, 3D Max, and all of their other software for free. This is why my car software is Inventor.
I love the autocorrects at the end of these. I think it's AutoCAD is my choice for
that
inventors.
makes sense.
Okay, good. And I will say this, AutoCAD is incredibly generous about this. They don't verify, they don't like ask for a student ID. If you have a .edu email address, you qualify.
That's pretty neat.
Which is neat. And I have a couple, so I'm going to dig those out.
I remember when me and Alex were in high school, we got the big Autodesk 2014.
Big box.
Or not 2014, it was 2004. Oh man, that was a long time ago. Yeah, it was a giant box with all the discs and stuff, and we got it for free because we were in the drafting program.
Exactly. So yeah, check it out. If you are in school right now, go ahead and download it. It can be a little daunting. It takes a while to get started up, but that's why I like Tinkercad, because Tinkercad will teach you some of the basics that when you start up Autodesk, you won't be so lost. But let me tell you this. Once you started using Autodesk, it's hard going back to a simpler tool, because Autodesk does in one step what a lot of those other tools might take 10 steps to do.
Yeah, that's true.
It is really, it's premium.
I think Microsoft does something pretty similar with, it's called like DreamSpark.
Yeah.
And I think if you have an EDU or your school sponsors through it or something, you can get like Windows for free and Microsoft Word and all that stuff.
Exactly.
So check that out too.
We are using Tinkercad, but I want to take a trip back over to the World Maker Faire in New York, because while we were there, speaking of Autodesk and Tinkercad, we saw a competitor, a 3D rendering software that I think a lot of people have been using over the years. And, well, Alex, let's go ahead and show them what we found. makers have a wide range of tools that they can use. CNC milling machines, laser engravers, and of course, 3D printers. But all of those tools need to start with design, which is why we're speaking with Mark from SketchUp. He's going to tell us what we need to turn our imagination into something in the real world. Mark, what is SketchUp?
Well, great question. You almost took the words right out of my mouth. We think that in order to build something great, you need to draw something great. So SketchUp basically is the easiest way to draw something in 3D. It's 3D modeling for everybody. If anyone has experience with 3D modeling software at the industrial level for product design like SolidWorks, there are some really, really powerful 3D modeling tools for industrial prototyping, for engineering, mechanical CAD. But SketchUp is the simplest, most effective, most productive 3D modeling that you can learn today. So if you want to be productive right away, SketchUp's for you.
Now, what tips can you give to the people who are starting design? Because it can be a little daunting. There's a lot of tools. There's a lot of different ways you can go about creating any particular object. If you've got someone out there who has never designed anything in his or her life, where should they start?
Well, you should start by learning, and actually having a project that you want to create is a great place. But just like everything, the first thing you build will not be the right thing. So you kind of want to approach your first project from a learning perspective. So you are going to learn SketchUp. We've got a great series of getting started videos, sketchup.com/learn. But as you're learning to draw in 3D, give yourself permission to screw up. In fact, probably I should have said in order to build something great, you need to draw something great and then screw it up a couple of times.
Can you actually show us what it looks like? What does the interface look like, and what steps are you taking?
Absolutely. I'm going to come back to this project you guys are seeing right here. This is the maker bench that we're working on this weekend. Let's start with a new 3D model file, though. And you can see in SketchUp, I'm going to get going really quickly here. You start with the line tool, and as you're drawing in 3D, SketchUp will give you hints along the way. So, for instance, I know this line is now parallel to the green axis. Again, here it's parallel to the red axis, and then I can actually reference other points like the midpoint of that line segment, or connect shapes to create faces. And then it's a simple click on the push-pull tool here to extrude shapes into 3D, to move around, create other shapes. And then it's very quick, actually, to start creating more complex geometry. You don't really need to worry about formulas or vectors. You just kind of draw the way that your brain thinks about shapes. You can absolutely be as precise as you want in SketchUp, but when you're starting, we like to make it really like drawing, like freehand. So when you start to learn in SketchUp, you can go freehand, and when you start to get to the point of, you know what, I actually need this thing to be 3/4 of an inch, because that's what the plywood actually is, you can do that as well.
Quick question. Is there a difference in how I design something that will be printed on a 3D printer versus, say, a CNC milling machine or a laser engraver? In other words, can I take one design and push it out to all my tools, or do I need to think tool specific?
I'm sure you've heard this answer before, but it depends. But I will. Let me see if I can go to a broader level and give you guys something useful. When I design for 3D printing, I typically don't do it at scale, which means that I know the build plate dimensions, and at some point, if I'm going to print my object, I need to decide if it's going to be all on one build plate or if there needs to be connectors. But when I design for 3D printing, I go to a bigger scale, because sometimes those really small pieces are harder to model when you are at that micro level, right? And there are some great tools for cleaning up your model when you bring it from a big scale down to a small scale. They're both free. They're called Solid Inspector 2 and Cleanup. And both of those are free tools, free extensions for SketchUp that you can find. They're essentially like apps for SketchUp that you can download while you're using the program. When you're designing for CNC, that's when you want to start being a little bit more precise, right? So you may have a conceptual stage, but ultimately you want to be have a level of precision. One of the things that we do is we advise people to use components, which are essentially copyable modules in SketchUp. So you can be working on a project like this maker bench right here, and as you're configuring or changing something, the individual pieces which are actually laid out on the cutting sheets are also changing. So if I make a modification to the table leg in the as-built design, that modification also gets replicated to the working cutting sheet.
Mark, thank you very much for speaking with us. If they want to find out more about SketchUp, where they can pick up your software, where they can start designing, where can our audience go?
SketchUp.com. Take it for a spin.
Father Robert Ballacer, remember, imagine it, dream it, then sketch it, and draw it. Now, there is still a free version of SketchUp. You can download and you can play, but for the more advanced features, they had to monetize.
I understand.
Yeah.
What I used to like to do back in the day when I was doing road design is I would draw it up in AutoCAD and then bring it in, import it into SketchUp so then I could color it and model it and then insert like 3D models and make it fancy.
There is a lot of that. In fact, right now, Anthony's going to try to help me improve the design of the twit bug and the twit badge that we created in the last episode. Because I'm not a designer. I kind of eyeballed what it would look like, and I used a half circle and 2 boxes to create the negative space.
What else do you need?
But he can actually take the original assets and turn it into something that can be understood by the rendering program. That will probably give us a much better, not just the logo, but also the lettering of twit.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Anthony definitely has a little bit more artistic
How about
vision.
a lot more?
Yeah.
How about all the mores? And I have
the mores.
no artistic vision whatsoever. That's not my thing.
You're a builder.
I'm a builder. That's what I do. Speaking of building, if you've ever built an app, at some point you're going to come to that decision to monetize, because it's nice to make things and give them out to people, but if you don't have a way to support yourself, you won't be making them for very long, which is why we're happy to have Braintree Payments as a sponsor of this episode of Know How. Now, what is Braintree Payments? Well, Brian, in the old day, if I had a service, a web service, let's say, and I wanted to accept credit cards, well, I would have to get an agreement with a credit card processor, because I can't just take credit card numbers and email them to somebody. I'd have to make sure that I got my own server.
You could, but you wouldn't want to.
That would be a really bad idea. Yeah. And actually, I would have to worry about that too. I would have to worry about losing my customers' personally identifiable information.
Right.
There's so many things that can go wrong when you're dealing with financial transactions. It was never a good thing to do, which is why Braintree takes all the hassle out of accepting payments on your mobile apps. Now, what is Braintree? Braintree is an SDK. It's a software development kit that allows you to integrate their solution into your app with just 10 lines of code. Now, whatever kind of payment you might want to accept, Braintree will accept it. That means Apple Pay, that means Android Pay, that means PayPal, Venmo, credit cards, even Bitcoin. And if something new pops up, Braintree will support that too. It's the same payment solution that's used by Uber, Airbnb, and GitHub, so you know it scales. Developers around the world have embraced the Braintree V.0 SDK as the easiest way to add secure mobile payments to their apps and their websites. You should do it too. What is inside the package? When you sign up, when you actually start using, what do you get? Well, my personal favorite is the sandbox. You get to see what it will look like integrated into your solution before it actually goes live. That's important because you want to make sure that you're not going to lose any of that sensitive information. Speaking of the sensitive information, you also tokenize all the data. So what's being transmitted can only be used once. It's best practices for financial transactions. Braintree knows it, and they make sure that they do it because they understand that their service is actually your public face. If they mess up, you look bad, and they don't want that to happen. Oh, if you're having trouble with the integration, developers, don't worry about it, because not only do they have a fully documented SDK, this is not one of those mystery box SDKs, but they'll also have someone sit with you alongside you as you do the integration. If you have any trouble, they'll always have support ready for you. Now, they also have a very, very active community so that you're going to be able to find solutions from people who have already implemented it. And their SDK comes in 7 languages, including .NET, Node.js, Java, Perl, PHP, Python, and Ruby. The code supports Android, iOS, and JavaScript clients, so they've got you covered there. And once again, it's only 10 lines of in-app code. It really can't get any easier. Well, Braintree gives you an easy way to accept multiple payment types with one integration. Integrating it into your app is as easy as inserting a few lines of code. Folks, try out the sandbox now and see for yourself what Braintree Payments can do for you at braintreepayments.com/knowhow. That's braintreepayments.com/knowhow. And we thank Braintree Payments for their support of Know How. Hey, Brian, you know what I'd like right now?
What's that?
Butter.
Butter?
Butter
Maybe
Gifs.
butter smith. Is it raining again?
Alex really thinks you need to wash off.
When are we going to get...
You're just smelling.
You're just smelling. I'm sorry.
Must be all that butter.
I'm culturing bacteria all over my body right now.
This is a very strange conversation. I'm gonna push it along. Speaking of culturing bacteria, how are Gifs?
Oh yes, you mean graphics interchange format?
No, I mean graphics.
Graphic.
Gifs.
Gifs.
We're not gonna get into that.
Gif
fight.
the peanut butter. Gif
either
the...
pronunciation works on this show.
I go with GIF. It doesn't really bother me either way people say it.
They say it's supposed to be GIF. No, I'm calling it GIF.
But
okay, so we all know animated GIFs.
We do. We know them. We love them.
We love them. Sometimes we hate them. Sometimes we hate them.
But you go ahead.
But the ones that I've made, we've shown a couple of shortcut ways, like using Adobe Premiere and such.
Right.
They don't always look great, and they're not always super smooth. There is a way to generate them that doesn't require you to own any expensive software or really have any computer experience whatsoever.
Yeah, this is just like a quick way of making super smooth GIFs, and as they become more popular, I think like Facebook is making profile pictures GIFs now.
Yeah.
I don't really care about that.
Nope.
But certain things lend themselves to be GIFed, if you can say that. And one of them, if I could use an example, was your beer quad.
Oh no!
You know,
why did you do?
We had a lot of fun with that project, and I just really enjoyed watching it crash over and over.
You slowed it down and zoomed it in. You are a bad man. You are making fun of my pain.
Yeah, I know. That's why I have so much fun on this show.
That's horrible.
But
how big is that?
How big is that? The GIF size?
That GIF, yeah. That you made of my pain. You know?
Well, of your pain, it's 59 megabytes.
Okay, so yeah, so it's bigger than what you would expect from, say, posting on Twitter, but that was super high quality. I mean, that looked like the video.
Yeah, and that's because I'm also using a website called Gfycat.
Okay.
If you go back to my laptop, Alex, they're making Jiffier GIFs. And what they allow you to do is use a video format, so say like a .mov or a MP4, and you upload it to their site. The requirements is it has to be, I think it's like 380 megabytes or lower. It will also resize automatically if you want that. And you can only do 15 seconds.
Okay, so I was wondering about that. So you can't take an entire 2-hour movie and turn it into a GIF?
No.
Because that would be silly.
But something like throwing a bottle against a wall and having it back bounce at you, that's something I just want to watch over and over and over.
I got it. All right. So show me how this works.
Okay. So if you look at my laptop, I've got Adobe Premiere open right now. You can do this with just any editing software, but I took a 15-second clip of one of my passions is watching MotoGP, and they do these really cool slow-mo bits during the races, but it goes by so fast that I wanted to stare and drool at it a little bit longer. So I made a 15-second long clip, and then I brought it into Premiere, and I went to my export settings. This clip originally is 24 frames per second.
Right.
What I've done is I've selected the format for H.264, and then I am exporting. It's locked. I'm going to export it at 1280 by 720.
Right, so you're scaling it down.
Scaling it down, but what you really want to make sure is to do 60 frames per second, and then use maximum render quality and use frame blending. And
the 60 frames per second is that's because that's what Gfycat needs. Otherwise, it's not going to look right, or?
It's just with that combined with the frame blending is going to smooth it out. Gfycat, you can upload it at whatever frame per second you want, but if you want it to look smooth, you're going to want to insert, and the higher quality of the video, the better the GIF is going to be. So if you're starting with a 4K video that's already shot in 40 frames or 60 frames per second, it's going to look better than a lower res version that began as a 24 frame. Right. But if you use the frame blending, it just
what you've done is you've allowed it, because if you take a 24 frame per second video and you make it 60 frames per second, you'll see stuttering. But frame blending will actually use a transition between two adjacent frames, kind of blend the elements, and you get a nice smoother movement through that.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I've already gone ahead and I've exported this video as an H.264, and then I went to Gifycat and uploaded it. I did that with the beer quad also. But so this is Marc Marquez from MotoGP, and he's dragging his elbow. And this is a slow motion video, and you can see all the different specs on the side. It was converted to a little under 2.5 megabytes.
Wow.
And this is the compression ratio. It's already got, it's fun to make these GIFs and then share them on places like Reddit or Twitter and stuff like that. So I think I have it right here. So it's just
that looks phenomenal.
Yeah, it's just
GIF, really?
It almost looks better than what they broadcasted it at.
You've improved on reality, Brian. Congratulations.
I think so. I honestly stared at this for probably 10 minutes just watching him do this over and over. But another version that somebody made from a higher quality video. This is 4K that they downsized, but it was also shot at 60 frames per second. And it just like, it's so sharp. This is better than real life.
This is the butter that we were speaking of.
So this is like, I like making these GIFs, and it's fun to watch them over and over because these slow motion motorcycle stuff, like you don't really get to see this too often, and this is like a perfect example for making a GIF.
And sadly, 15 seconds is about our time.
Yeah, your attention span.
So, yeah.
So definitely motorcycle-centric is what I was looking at when I was
noticing a theme in all your GIFs here.
That and quad. So if you have a quadcopter crash, it'd probably be a good idea to make a GIF out of it. And then the nice thing I like about doing a video and then uploading it as a GIF is that I can edit it and I can zoom in, slow down the speed. Take
just the pieces you want because like any conversion, the less information you include in the original, the smaller the file is going to be. So if I give it 4K, it's going to be huge. Versus if I scale that down to a smaller version and it's only 720p, I'm now giving it less information. It doesn't have to compress as hard. There we go.
And it's fun to shame your coworkers.
That was Gifycat, Gfycat.com or?
Yeah, it's Gfycat.com, and it's free to sign up and upload your stuff.
There you have it, folks. If you want to send annoying GIFs to your friends, or if you, let's be honest, if you want to send your friends something that is just about what their attention span will handle, you got to try Gifycat. It will give you the butter smooth GIFs.
So nice.
Our new guy in training has apparently been using Gifycat and made some things there before.
Really?
Ooh, wait, what is that?
Did you?
What is that?
It's a cinemagraph.
It's a cinemagraph, but of
the
wormhole.
It's a scene from Final Fantasy X.
Okay. You know what? We just outed ourselves as big non-geeks for not knowing.
Well, and if you do it,
wallpaper.
It's your wallpaper. That's awesome. Yeah, if you make a GIF in a way that it loops on itself, it looks like an endless, it's an endless loop. It looks cool like that. Yeah. Good job, Kevin.
Much like this show.
Much like it just goes on forever. But okay, it won't go on forever because we just want to do one thing. This is a parting shot. We haven't done a parting shot for a while. You know that 2 weeks ago I had to cover 2 different conferences. I had to cover, well, actually 3. TechCrunch Disrupt, the hackathon.
You have not been here at
Disrupt.
all.
I know, I've been gone. Well, at TechCrunch Disrupt, the thing to get, the freebie, you know I like myself some swag, right?
Yes.
Well, it was this. This comes from Trash Amps. Now, this is a laser cut. If you go over the overhead here, this is a laser cut lid. So this is just wood that they've put a bunch of holes into it. And just the minimum of electronics. There's a speaker in here, there's an amp board, and then there's a USB battery that's powering this, right? And what they did was they invited you to assemble it. They would give you the jar, they would give you this wooden piece, and you would have to put everything together.
Doesn't look like there's a whole lot there.
There's not a whole lot, but the cool thing about this is how it sounds. So you wouldn't think that a speaker inside of a mason jar would sound any good, but let's do a little something. It's actually quite good.
It's a lot louder than I imagined it would be.
And if I take it out of the mason jar, hopefully this translates into an audio experience, but you lose all the low end.
Wait, so is this the original components for like a Beats headset or something? Is that how that works?
Well, this is much higher quality than a Beats. So this is so much higher quality than you will ever get with a Beats headphone.
It makes such a big difference having it in the mason jar like that.
Well, I mean, anyone who's played with speakers or made their own subwoofer boxes, you know that when you create standing waves that can reinforce each other, you get much stronger bass. Bass is really affected by that. And this was actually really cool. I thought this was going to be something silly.
Right.
But that was the one thing from TechCrunch. I'm like, I want to take that home. Can I have that?
It's like good.
And they're local. I want to invite them in. This is a cool exercise for people to figure out how these things work, because this is a super simple circuit. This is the battery. This is a speaker. This is a laser cut piece of wood that will go into the mason jar. And then this circuit board is the only thing that you need. It's got a driver circuit. It's got a couple of capacitors on it. That's about it. So you could really make your own kit. If you wanted to teach people how to make, this is a nice cross-discipline between 3D design, 2D design, and circuit design.
Well, now I want to like get a giant box or maybe like a garbage can or something like that and see if I can make a speaker out of it.
Absolutely. But folks, if check them out, trashamps.com. Do me a favor, go over to trashamps.com or go onto their Twitter address and show them some know-how love, because they were makers in the truest sense. And thanks for giving us a mason jar. Actually, we got 3 of them. I think Carson got 2, Tanya got 1, I got 1.
And when you're done using it as a speaker, you can drink out of it.
Yeah, or you can power your phone.
Ah, smart.
How about that? Folks, that's all the time we have for this episode of Know How. Have you noticed how we were trying to shorten the episodes and we crept back up to an hour?
I thought we were going 4 hours tonight.
Oh, gosh, go figure. If you want to get any of the notes from any of the projects that we did, from the feedback or from figuring out how to use Gfycat, you could always go to our show notes page, which is where, Brian?
twit.tv/KH. Yeah, all the links from our episodes are in there. You can subscribe and download the version of your desire, and that's not the only place that you can find us.
Wait a minute. Who's that handsome beardless man?
I don't know, but I wish we had him back.
He's gone. He's forever gone.
Is this a Movember thing? Is that what we're doing?
It's an early prep.
I don't understand. Whatever.
Winter is here, Padre. I need to stay warm. These lights aren't sufficient.
So doge. Don't forget, as Brian was saying, you can't just find us on Google+. You can also find us on the Twitters. And you can find me at twitter.com/PadreSJ.
And I am at cranky_hippo.
And our producer/director,
Kevin King.
Kevin. What? Grumple.
Kevin Grumps.
K.
You can hear him laughing back there.
We just call him K Grumps.
K Grumps.
K Grumps can be found on Twitter at ANELF3. That's an L3.
What?
Huh? Oh, sorry. Is it Hal back there still?
Brian, that's Alex.
I thought he stopped working here like 6 years ago.
I think he's dead.
I think so.
Also, don't forget that you can find all of our past episodes at that show notes page. So if you want to see what we've done as far as projects are concerned, just drop on over, and you can download our quad episodes, you can download our cooling episodes, and you can find that handsome devil before he got all that face gunk.
I think I know what I'm going to do now. I think during an episode, I will just shave off part of my beard and see how many people notice as the episode goes on. Well, I'm waiting for Harry's to come on to the show.
I mean, look at that. Look, see, he's wanting to come through the dimensions. No. Okay. Until next time, I'm Father Robert Ballacer.
And I'm Beardy Burnett.
Now that you know how.
Go do it.